Okay, great. Coming back to the live and asking the host to enable the video. Great. Hi, everyone.
Wait, you're not on yet.
I definitely know, but the host has to enable me. Gladys, behind the scene, can you enable my video? Thanks a lot. And then we good to go. Great. Now we have our video back on. Hi, everyone. This is our community YouTube live. And with me, I have Marcus and Thomas. And we have a lot of things to show. We have a lot of things brought with us. So let's get started to not lose any time. Well, as discussed, we have online with us Thomas, our COO, has been with Sono Motors over 3 years now, and within the automotive industry of 25 years, so well experienced. Also Marcus Vollmer, our CTO, who has roughly 20 years of experience in automotive and worked at Photon Motors Corporation and Daimler with a lot of experience in automotive there, in engineering and vehicle. With that, I would say let's jump into it because we will talk today about the battery. Marcus will give you insights, the development update, the general business update, and then we come to your question and answer. There are a lot of questions handed in before via Slido. We have a lot of questions upvoted, and we will go through each of them and answer them. So your questions will be answered at the end. We take half an hour for that. Don't worry. With that, I want to jump into it, and let's hand over to Marcus Vollmer to talk about the battery.
Okay, Laurin, thanks for the introduction. Thanks for handing over. Hello, everyone. It's the first time for me in the live stream with you. I'm very much looking forward to it. Let's get an overview on the vehicle. Most of the details we know already, but let's take a look. We built here for you, with you, the first affordable solar electric vehicle. It's a family-friendly, daily life-friendly vehicle. We are now in a stage that we are testing the vehicle. We have been driving it, all the good things like double lane change, brake maneuvers, and we can really say it has a very positive, very good driving behavior. This is probably mostly to the front engine mounting. We have an engine that is already kind of system mature from Vitesco. We will run with this engine to SOP and later. We have a quite competitive price, 25,500 euros, including the German tax. I think I am afraid we know already that we have more than 300 kilometers range due to our bigger battery, but we will talk about some more details together with you today, including the range coming from the sun. We will have more than 400 kilometers per week. This is kind of a new measurement we can apply here, range per week. And still, of course, we come with the integrated sharing APPs, our digital kind of benchmark capabilities. So let's go for the 54 kilowatt hours battery, which is significantly bigger than the older one, kind of half the size more. We come from 35 and we go now to 54 kilowatt hours. This enables us we calculate now 305 kilometers range, and we come from estimated 255 kilometers range. Later we will understand a little better the difference of those two numbers. Considering the sun, we come from 367 kilometers and grow to 417 kilometers. This is under very conservative assumptions, like 16 kilometers per day on average. That's kind of a mid-European weather, not too sunny. So this is really realistic. And unfortunately, we also have a disadvantage. Our CO2 equivalent increases from 2.7 tons to 4.1. Yeah, we have a bigger battery that needs more resource. This is the backside of this part of the story. Let's go on. We still talk about lithium ion battery, NMC versus LFP. So it's everything very normal. So in between plus and minus, the lithium ions are traveling back and forth. The electrons are running around outside the battery, driving the engine. So everything as we know it. We only now come from NMC and go to lithium ferrum phosphate. A little different chemistry, also quite well known. It's not a brand new technology, by the way. Some people think that that's not the case. For us, it's a very big advantage that we don't have cobalt, manganese, and nickel anymore in the battery. I think all you know our mission, our company's mission, and not having this into battery, of course, does not solve all the problems of the world, but for us, it's a very, very big advantage. Let's come to one other big advantage, thermal runaway. The new LFP batteries has a very positive behavior. You almost cannot bring it to a thermal runaway, neither by nail penetration tests or by high ambient temperatures. With the NMC battery, with the nail penetration test, this definitely happens. And with coming over a certain trigger point in terms of temperature, this can happen. It is very unlikely, yes, but it can happen. And we are here definitely on the safe side of the thermal runaway. Cycles. The old battery, NMC, was good for 1,500 cycles. This is probably sufficient for a lifetime of a vehicle, but now we double it. This is, of course, very good for, then we are really on the safe side. Entire vehicle life can be a little longer, and we are definitely safe to not run into problems with the battery. One thing. The other thing is, a second life of a battery becomes a really interesting thing to think about and to talk about. Bigger battery, of course, means it is a little heavier, and in this case, 110 kilogram is not only a little. We need to admit, yes, it is quite a bit, but that's the deal. We think we need to go. We have so many advantages, and we take this disadvantage into account. On the entire vehicle side, we work on a weight reduction program to somehow compensate it. If it really is possible for us to compensate completely, we don't know yet, to be honest, but we work on it to reduce it somehow. Yeah, 360 kilogram all over will be the battery pack weight. We can go for 1.4 C. This means for the old and also for the new battery. So we increase from 50 kilowatt to 75 kilowatt in charging capacity. And this is really a significant step. Even in 2023, when we are coming with a vehicle, we are very confident to be really competitive with this. In the city, I think you won't even find those charging points too much. You maybe find them outside the cities. And 75, that's a big number. And we will facilitate that. Consumption will be a little different. Maybe in the Q&A session, we talk about that into a little more detail. Now we calculate it to 16.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, considering the vehicle as we know it now, as it is now, and we know how it's going to develop. We know this a little more precise than we knew a little while ago. When we had the old battery there, it was not a clear calculation. It was more a sophisticated estimation, which is very normal in such an engineering process. So we have a different number now here, 16.6. Right, I think that was the battery part.
Great. Maybe, Marcus, some questions coming in over the YouTube live. There's a question from Emilio Cano. Hi from sunny Valencia, Spain. Is there any possibility of increasing the battery to 64, even bigger, 64 kilowatt hours? It would be very interesting to be able to have a greater range of kilometers.
Yeah, you are coming from Valencia, so you have a big benefit from the solar cells, right? So you have this bigger battery, the even bigger battery with you in Spain anyway. You can really make I don't know on average, I would say 30 kilometers per day, and in peak times maybe 40 kilometers a day, which is kind of the equivalent almost of the bigger battery. But to answer your question, probably not. We have the one variant strategy. We bring now the 54 kilowatt hour battery, and the vehicle is coming only with that one, and also not with the 35 kilowatt anymore, only 54. And right now, to be honest, we don't think about coming with something even bigger. You know, there's also a disadvantage. No matter how far you drive every day, you always carry this higher weight with you, always and ever. And maybe it's a matter of compromise. The 35 kilowatt hours battery maybe was a little bit small. The 54 we think is kind of an ideal thing between range and carrying the weight with you. Going beyond that, yeah, maybe not so reasonable. I hope I can answer your question in a positive way with that. Later we talk a little bit more about Q&As. Now I would hand over to Thomas. He will give us an update on the development. And yeah, thank you so far. Looking forward to talk again to you.
Thank you, Markus. Thank you, Laurin. And for Emilio, I'll have an example for you in just a moment to consider. But it was really high time for us to make any updated decision on the battery. So to be very precise, when we look at our development process, this was the last opportunity to change anything with our base concept of the vehicle or to add a bigger battery. Why? Look at what we all have achieved in the last 6 years. This year, we actually have to finalize our design. And when we say finalize our design, it means that we're freezing all the construction data at a point that we call design freeze in September of 2021. And until that time, we have to finalize every detail. So I would agree with Markus, we will not touch the battery again until that time. That does not mean that sometime in the future, you cannot update solar cells or batteries or what have you, or the vehicle with the facelift or any other opportunities. But from a company milestone point of view, this is what we're all working towards this year. We're also working towards releasing all the funds to order all our production material so that in 2022, we can not only build our Generation 3 vehicle, the real vehicles with all the original parts, but also start producing them on the original assembly line, which then are not Generation 3 prototypes anymore, but are called pre-series vehicles. This is all happening in 2022 and 2023. As you know, we will deliver vehicles in the first half of 2023. I saw some questions on when will I get my car I ordered. Everybody who has ordered so far or reserved the vehicle so far for EU EFTA is in the 2023 delivery date. Now, how do these cars look that we talk about? Well, the first car Laurin and Jona built by themselves in their garage is Prototype 0. Most of you have test-driven Prototype 1, or what we call Gen 1 prototype. These vehicles we retired by the end of last year because we built Prototype 2. This vehicle we showed at the beginning of this year, the first one of them at the CES, and I'll show you a few pictures in a second on them. I was talking right now, finalizing on all the construction information and sourcing data on our Prototype 3 vehicle. This vehicle, it doesn't only look like the final vehicle, it is the final vehicle. And Markus's team can go over it from a validation point of view, and we'll do a lot of work on these vehicles. We also built a significant number of them. However, the final vehicle to be homologated will be a pre-series vehicle from the factory in 2023. You also need to use these vehicles for your final crash test, for your final homologation, to make sure that these are the cars that you will also later receive, and they're identical from a construction point of view. Well, for some of you, what I just told you shouldn't be new, because we have been quite transparent about how we communicate and what is going on. And in the spirit of this transparency, just as on this chart that you can see on the internet when you go on our website, I want to talk about a few things that might not develop as positive as planned, but they're easy to explain. If you look into the situation with choosing a new battery, as Markus already pointed out, has contributed at least 100+ kilograms to our vehicle weight. But these are not the only changes in development. On the next chart, you will see that the weight increased from a target weight of 1,400 kilograms to now about 1,730 kilograms. You know by now the benefits of having a bigger battery, but these are some of the small disadvantages. We also decided to make the car longer. We want an even safer car and have decided to extend the vehicle by 16 centimeters, 160 millimeters. And then, sorry for the American friends for all this metric stuff and the maybe British English words, trailer coupling. For the trailer hitch, we have planned to have 750 kilograms, or roughly, what is it, 1,500 pounds. And here we're evaluating with the current weight increase how much of weight we can carry or pull. So there's no final data there. But if you listen, in September, we have to be able to tell you. And this is our deadline that we're all working towards. And as Markus already pointed out, by having a bigger weight, but also by making general decisions on a lot of parts, not only regarding weight and reaching a vehicle consumption target date, which was 14 kilowatt hours to 100 kilometers of range, we also have to make cost, quality, and timing decisions. And all of that combined led to a higher consumption that we assume now to be around 16.5 kilowatt hours to 100 kilometers. Still very competitive. So these are the updates on the development side that we have to consider being not so favorable. Well, let me tell you now something that is quite favorable. On the right, you see our very first produced Gen 2 prototype. We call him or her or it Salt. It's our 2.1. And what you see in this vehicle, which we in the industry actually give the denomination of a mule, because it's not the final vehicle. We have some final parts in it, some not. You see that the outer skin is not final. Our 13 solar modules are not perfect on that vehicle. And we went one more step towards perfection with our second build on the prototype 2 that you can see on the left. So a lot of these ribs and wavy forms have disappeared, but even that one is not the final surface that will come later. But we're so happy about this because not only does it look better, it also functions fully. All 13 modules are working, and when you take out these two prototypes today, you can actually see, like you will in the future, what kind of wattage we are producing. And we're proud and happy to say that we already have achieved a solar yield of up to 0.5 kilowatt hours, or more than 500 kilowatts, and more than 500 watts, which is an awesome number. And it's good to know that it works from all directions. So the sun doesn't have to shine on your side. It's fine to have a white house wall reflecting, etc. So our concept is really working as we expected. And that makes us very proud. And I think you have seen a few YouTube videos. Now, Emilio, Markus already mentioned that you're living in a favorable place regarding sunlight. And I want to report from a sadder place than where you live, from Germany, Munich. Our weather's not that great. But if you take the average German weather, we actually have something for the average commuter that works so much better than battery capacity. If you take the average commuter, he drives 16 kilometers a day. And if you assume that this person on the weekend also uses the car here and there for even longer trips, you come up with over 1,000 kilometers or more than 670 miles in 8 weeks. If you drive Sion, you can actually drive this distance only with recharging once. If you drive the same car with the same range, let's assume the same battery, the same fuel consumption, but the same range, you actually have to charge 4 times as much. And if you live in the city, you know that it's not that easy to find a parking spot. And now you have to find a parking spot where you can charge. One of the main ideas of Laurin and Jona to make a car affordable to everybody. If we would want to reach that with a bigger battery, we would actually have to take a 180 kilowatt hour battery with our fuel consumption. And I think here we all agree, then we're totally in the ridiculousness of worlds regarding battery size. So we're pretty happy. Even in Germany, from March to September, you might be able to drive your average commute without even having to charge. In average in Germany is, by the way, 5,800 kilometers of range you get during the year when you leave the car outside. I've talked enough. I'd love to hand over to Laurin.
Sure. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Marcus. The community here is very active in the comment section, so I wanted just to check in here. Mats Larsen says trailer is a very important factor here in Scandinavia, and I couldn't agree more. And I think one of the key differentiator of design is the trailer. So all the others who are discussing us right now in the comment section, yes, design will still have a trailer hitch. We're working on it, as Thomas said, just how much you can carry. This will be defined until September design release, where we have the final data. So with that, I would jump right into the part of what happened at Sono Motors. And let me start with one key differentiator also, which comes with design, and that's the app. The app we developed has 4 different use cases, 4 different pillars. The first one is your sign. You can open, close to your sign, you can preheat, you can locate your car on the app. And that's usually a feature you only get with very expensive cars. And we made it possible to make it at a 25,000 euro car. Second pillar is car sharing. You can rent out your vehicle if you don't need it, like an Airbnb on wheels. Third is ride pooling. You can take someone from A to B if you're driving your car and making money, and also making sure the cars are not just fitted with one person. Fourth thing is that you can power share. You can sell the energy you have in your vehicle, recharged by the sun, via the app, what we call power sharing. And that's a pretty cool feature, which is in the app, which will be possible with design and is not in any other car on the street. So with that, we think we have a pretty decent product for our community here. And I want to show you a chart that design has no direct competition in its class. What you see on the chart here is a comparison between some electric vehicles either on the street today or will be launched within the next 2 years. And you see vehicles here like Volkswagen ID.3, Tesla Model 3 here. They're all at least 20 to 90% more expensive than our vehicle, but not having solar, not having sharing, not having bidirectional charging, and all the other features, and not shipping for 25,000 euros. So in conclusion, design comes at a pretty good range at a very affordable price, and is overall with no direct competition also in 2023. Moving on, our community is growing, and everything you have seen is only possible because of you. You people made it possible. You helped us crowdfunding, all the different stuff. You helped us with decisions. You made it possible that we came this far. And at this point, I want to say thank you, because we are a community-driven company and we wouldn't be here without you. Also, who made it possible to be here today is our team. And they've been growing a lot over the last couple of months. We have doubled the team in the last 6 months. Incredible. And what you can see on this picture is some team members randomly picked, which shows you who's behind the scenes, who's creating your sign. And this is just very decent what we see here from an engineering point of view, what you see here from a solar engineering point of view, of a software point of view, because those people know what they do. They have a lot of experience of automotive, solar, and software. So with that, we are all fighting together, the community, the team, Sono, to make our vision of a world without fossil fuels come true? And with that said, enough for myself. Let's go right into the question and answer. And you were able to submit your questions up front via Slido. So I would now show the Slido and walk you through and just answer them. So let's get started. We have a lot of questions coming in, actually also live over YouTube, and we will answer hopefully almost all of them. So let's get started with Michael H. Michael H asked if the Sion benefits from being parked in the sun while the Sion has electricity, oxidation, ventilation. So question goes to Marcus.
Yeah, Michael, here I can give a very good news to you and to many other people, of course. We are very well advanced here in the development of our cooling system. So we will have an air conditioning system while the vehicle is standing and parked there. We will have a heating system while the vehicle is standing and or parked. And also we will have just a conventional ventilation system for that, yeah. So that looks really good already.
Great, thanks, Marcus. Johannes asks, with 100 upvotes, can you offer the environmental bonus even if you would have to increase the list price in Germany for it? This is a specific question for Germany, but maybe Thomas, you can answer them.
Yeah, it looks like Johannes is definitely German. So for all the international viewers, particularly of the EU, we in Germany are special. We have a special support for electric vehicles that require the manufacturer to give a discount from the list price in order to qualify. So in general, for all Europe, we want to ensure that you can all benefit from their government support for a general electric vehicle, which is also including our solar electric vehicle. So in general terms, do not worry. For the German side in particular, if there's still a program in place in 2023 and the German budget is supporting it, we will find a way. It is our interest to find a way for you to get part of the benefit and share. And what you just indicated, that we could increase the list price for Germany, is one possibility. But for now, please all assume that we're doing a net pricing on the car. We're not discounting the vehicle in general. When you order for 25.5, there's not an additional discount in Germany, except when you qualify for the program, then you get the money, of course.
Great, thanks, Thomas. There's a question I just random picked. Ollie Berlin 2011 is asking, is charging while driving now possible? It's live from the YouTube chat. Marcus, maybe you can.
Yes, probably the question refers to charging by the sun, not charging by a cable. Should be a long cable, of course, and the answer is clearly yes. Charging while driving is possible already. So
Great.
we did that already 2 times. I drove the vehicle by myself, and I'm each time still very happy to see that it's really working.
Nice. I can even say check out our YouTube channel. We showed it, their live data, where we filmed it. You can just check it out in one of the last videos we had.
We can even say one more thing. Even you park your car, you charge it while plugged in with your wall box. Yeah, there the most charging power is coming from, of course, and at the same time, still you get charged by the sun. Additionally, at the same time.
That's pretty interesting. Thanks, Marcus, for this addition. Well, continuing with Slido, we got from Anonymous a question with 99 upvotes. Could you make the new prototype available for Next Move for 2 days to test? Also a very German question, because Next Move is a German company. Say hi to Next Move there. We know those guys. Short answer here, yes, we can do it. The thing is, the prototypes are not yet street legal, so you cannot drive them on public roads, so it wouldn't make sense to give them for 2 days, but we invite Next Move, of course, to our community tour coming up soon, very soon in Germany, where they can visit just a tour and make a video out of it. Next one, Andy with E asked, why does a 54% larger battery only provides 22% more range? Marcus, this is maybe something for you.
Yeah, this is a little more complicated, but let me give it a try. So the battery growth is by plus 54%, and the range is below the linear increase. Yeah, what's the reason? Basically, it's coming back in the very end to the specific consumption. Now we calculate 16.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. We were estimating 14.0 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. So what's happening here? Let's make a journey through the development process. Let's go to SOP, or the time right before SOP, where we have the finally defined vehicle test driving, being able to measure. Here we have kind of the, let's call it touch point. We have the convergence. We can really measure a certain value. Let's call it 16.6. Yeah, like 1.5 years before or so, like we are now, the window goes a little. It opens up. Yeah, we are not really sure. We are only mostly sure, and now we are sure about this 16.6. When we go back into the past a little more, the window goes open more and more. So it's a bandwidth which is bigger, yeah. And there we thought it is 14. So this changed over time. Yeah, we get more and more to the real vehicle. We know more about the vehicle. We learn about the vehicle. We come forward into in the overall R&D process. That's one thing. We have always to make trade-offs between time, money, technology, quality. For example, in the beginning, if we have been dreaming of some carbon materials to make it fancy and light, but maybe expensive, later we needed to think about maybe too expensive is not good, because then we cannot meet the 25,500. So let's take something else. So we decided to come to aluminum. A space frame and to take as many, let's say, carryover and standard parts as possible. So always a trade-off here. So the vehicle concept is getting more and more mature and more defined. So that's one part of the answer. And the other part of the answer is we have more weight. Just as simple as it is. The battery is bigger, plus 110 kilogram. The vehicle will be a little longer. To have even more crash safety, and we will have more of those electronic safety systems, also adding up to a certain plus in weight. And more weight, of course, we know is less efficiency. Less efficiency then means less range. So this is the nonlinear behavior, let's call it. It's a little complicated, and I hope I could somehow answer it.
Great, thanks, Marcus. I would continue with Michael, who has 73 upvotes. From 2022, new cars must also have additional assistance systems, emergency braking assistance, and so forth. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, Michael, excellent question. Yes, from a delay point of view of our launch, it advanced us to have more demand, a requirement for additional assistance systems. Of course, we will have these assistance systems at launch. So from that point of view, as with the new battery, for the same money, you get more features. It might even be possible that these additional assistance systems offer us possibilities to offer you something for not a lot of cost for us, and for a technical capability, that there might be additional features that we can offer. I don't want to create hope here and don't excite you too positively, but as I said in September with the design phase, we should know that, and we might have some good news there.
Great, thanks, Thomas. Adding a question from the side, from the YouTube Live, where the question came in, if we will have OTA, over-the-air updates. It was asked by Leon Moto. Maybe Marcus, you can answer them.
Yes, definitely. This is a clear yes answer. We will have several OTA packages we will deliver. We have a highly digitalized car. We have all those digital services and apps. This is part of our strategy, more or less. Yeah, it's not just a side effect or so. We rely on our OTA, definitely.
Great. Another question coming in over YouTube from Mats Larsen. Hi. I'm a bit worried about scaling up production. Do you have some kind of commitments from NEFs? Maybe Thomas, this goes to you.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe for the rest of the group, we're not building our factory for this car. We don't have to. There's a lot of overcapacity in the world, and in Europe, you have a lot of contract manufacturers. NEVS is a Swedish contract manufacturer and the successor organization of Saab. They have a beautiful factory in Trollhättan. They can produce 200,000 vehicles. We'll produce 43,000 there in a two-shift operation. They are wonderful partners for us, and we have a contract. We're working day by day together. So they're fully integrated in our development, manufacturing, engineering, and production process.
Great. Let's continue with Slido. Anonymous is asking, what steps are necessary to design battery can be used to power up a house? Are you in contact with politics here?
Yeah, I can take that as well. So the simple answer is our car can power a house. However, if your house is connected to a national grid, there are certain regulations and there are certain requirements. So in general, if you have an average house, what you will have and what you need to have is a home energy management system. And this HEMS will actually be communicating with a bidirectional wall box. And this bidirectional wall box, we will also offer with a partner. So we want to offer a bidirectional wall box from our side to help you with your home energy management system, to communicate, for example, with your solar plant and to do what your regional power provider requires.
Great, very good answer, thanks. I'm really looking forward for that feature, and I think we will cover some of that. Next one is also anonymous, 60 upvotes. The LFP battery technology has so far had the disadvantage of a strong loss of power at low temperatures and poor energy density. Have these issues been resolved? Marcus, goes to you.
Yeah, this is basically two questions at once, right? But let's take it step by step. Let's take first the energy density. The LFP chemistry itself made big advantages, big steps forward in the recent years. Yeah, so it almost overcome the former disadvantages. That's one point. The other point is the density point we solve by a cell to pack design. So usually, mostly we know it from many NMC batteries. We have cells and we have modules and we have a pack. There's always some, let's say, lost space in the pack. And in our battery, we don't have that. We just build cell to pack. So we have much more density in our physical package. That's one thing. The other thing is, also here, the chemistry has developed quickly. And the other thing is we can preheat our battery pack by our thermal system. We can do it while connected to the wall box, for example, taking the energy from the wall box, preheat the system. So we compensate that disadvantage. The other thing is when we park outside somewhere, we need to utilize some of the energy we are carrying around with us in the battery. But that's not a big share of energy we will use for that. Definitely kind of paying off to warm up the battery a little and then start to driving.
Great. I throw in another question from YouTube. Kia e-Niro Might 20 is asking, what's the WLTP range without solar?
Without solar, 305 kilometers, we are calculating with the efficiency of 16.6 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's WLTP. That's, as we know, this well-defined 1,800 seconds cycle. The reality once in a while is a little different, but we calculate in a way that we think we are really calculating conservatively. So we try to match WLTP and the real consumption as close to each other. That's
great.
Without solar, yeah.
Without solar, and adding solar, it's even more. We have this 112 kilometers per week on average additional on top. So continuing with questions from the Slido side, Fritz A asked something about bidirectional wall box. I assume that we have covered this with your question, Thomas, already earlier.
Yes, maybe to add, is it eligible for funding? Again, every region, every country in the EU has different regulations, so it's hard to answer it in general. But I'm pretty sure a lot of countries, regions, or communities are supporting this. You also need the okay of a regional provider for your power usually. So it really depends a lot on your individual situation. Maybe you contact us via our email channel or other ways.
Great. We have another question from YouTube coming in, and I hope I pronounce your name right. Jao Prato is asking, who will provide repair and service to the car in Europe on all countries where you will be selling? Maybe Thomas, this is a question for you.
Yeah, we will have a practiced and renowned European partner where you can physically drop off your car for service and other requirements where you want to talk to a real life person that can service your vehicle. But keep in mind that's the conservative or the standard way of doing work. We're also enabling your local partner or service technician to qualify as a Sono service location. They will have access also to all of our parts, handbooks and instructions. And then finally, Laurin, you and Jonas started this with having a YouTube video on how to change a mirror or how to do other items. So on all the non-safety related stuff, if you feel up for it, we will actually encourage you to do a lot of work yourself, and you can also order parts. So all three possibilities will be there.
Great. We continue with the Slido questions here. How far, Karl Heinz, most probably German, how far does the sign go at 90, 100, 120, and 130 kilometers per hour? Marcus.
Okay, I can give a very clear, we don't know. But no kidding. Let me explain. According to WLTP, the car goes 305 kilometers. WLTP has 1,800 seconds cycle to up maximum 130 kph. Several driving profiles. Most of the driving profiles are, let's say, below 70 kph. So if we drive quicker on average than 70, the range will unfortunately decrease, but that's normal for all cars, even if it's EV or not EV. And also for our car, this is applicable. When we drive and we drive quicker, the air resistance is going up into the equation by a square, in a squared way. So the quicker we drive, the quicker the air drag will increase, and yeah, the less range we will have. So it will definitely be below 300 kilometers. Yeah, but that's physics.
Great, Marcus, thanks. Last question before we end the live stream. Thanks for everyone being so curious. We have a question in the live stream and a question from Joschka, both going in the same direction. Let me pull it up. Paul Schön is asking, is one pedal driving possible? And Joschka is asking here, will there be a different adjustable recuperation strength and on a sliding mode, both going in the same direction, one pedal driving?
Yeah, so we have defined the one pedal driving already. And it's in a way, imagine we are standing with a vehicle, you have 1 foot on the brake, then you release the feet, and we think the vehicle should not move then. So it's doing nothing, because we say when you release the foot from the brake, it's not something where you tell the vehicle, now please drive. So we say start driving when we press the accelerator pedal. And when we release the foot from the accelerator pedal, we go into the recuperation, depending on how quick we release the foot. And we can even go to speed equals 0 when we completely release it and the vehicle is rolling, recuperating, rolling, and then it's stopping. It's a traditional one pedal drive. Of course, we might still need the brake when we want to decelerate a little quicker than expected. Yeah, so we won't have this sliding mode because we only have this one variant strategy. So we only have this one pedal drive feature. Hope this answers the question.
Yes, it does. And with that, we come to an end. 45 minutes of live stream. Thank you so much. It was incredible to get all your answers. Thanks for Marcus. Thanks for Thomas for joining. I think I liked it. We will do it in the future again, and talk to you very soon. And thanks from Munich, Germany.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.